Paris, the city of light. Above ground, it is a global beacon of romance, art, and vibrant life. But beneath the sunlit cobblestones, 20 meters down, or approximately 65 feet, in the suffocating, freezing dark, lies a mirror city. A sprawling, silent necropolis, built not of brick and mortar, but of human remains. They call it the Empire of Death. This is the final resting place of over 6 million souls. Think about that. That is more than double the entire living population of Paris today. It is a labyrinth of shadows, a monument to our own fragile mortality, in the setting for some of history's most terrifying realities. Welcome to the Catacombs of Paris. The true story of the catacombs is not a mystery. It begins with a biological nightmare. But in the late 18th century, Paris was literally drowning in its own dead. The city's largest cemetery, Les Innocents, had been absorbing corpse for nearly 1,000 years. It wasn't just full, it was bursting. The ground level of the cemetery had risen 10 feet higher than the surrounding streets, bloated by the sheer volume of decomposing flesh. The stench was apocalyptic. A putrid miasma so thick, it reportedly turned milk sour in nearby homes, tainted the wine, and caused locals to collapse in the streets. The earth was so saturated with human fat and decay that it literally turned into a waxy substance called adipocere. The ground could not hold one more body. Then, in the rainy spring of 1780, the earth gave way. The cellar wall of a property bordering the cemetery violently collapsed under the weight of the massive graves. The owners didn't find a minor leak. They were met with a horrific avalanche of rotting corpses, bones, and toxic earth violently spilling into their basement. The dead were reclaiming the city. Paris had to act or be consumed. The solution lay even deeper underground for centuries. Paris had been built using limestone quarried from beneath its own foundations, leaving behind 200 miles of empty, highly unstable tunnels that were already threatening to swallow entire neighborhoods. The king's engineers, led by Charles Axel Guillemot, saw a grim opportunity: stabilize the crumbling city above by filling the void with dead from below. Beginning in 1786, a macabre nightly ritual began. As the city slept, twilight processions of black-covered wagons, heavy with millions of exhumed bones, rumbled toward the old quarry shafts. For decades, the remains of paupers and princes, plagued victims, and revolutionaries were unceremoniously dumped down the dark wells. At first, it is just a mass dumping ground. But in the early 1800s, a morbid sense of order took over. An inspector transformed the chaotic pile into the chilling, beautiful mausoleum you see today. Femurs and tibias stacked like firewood, meticulously punctuated by rows of hollow skulls glaring into the darkness. In the cold anonymity of bone, bitter enemies now lie intertwined. The architects of the French Revolution's reign of terror, like Maximilien Robespierre, whose severed head fell to the guillotine, now rests somewhere in the massive puzzle, pressed against the very victims he condemned. In this empire, everyone is equal. The bone-lined walls you see in photos are just a tiny, sanitized fraction of the network. Beyond the official tourist path lies roughly 170 miles of illegal, unmapped, pitch-black labyrinth. It is a maze designed to confuse, a maze that has claimed life. The most infamous victim is Philibert Aspairt. In 1793, during the chaos of the Revolution, Aspairt was a doorman at the Val de Grace Hospital. Armed with only a single candle, he entered a forgotten staircase in the courtyard, descending into the dark. Legend says he is hunting for a secret stash of the monk's famous chartreuse liqueur. He never found it. He took a wrong turn, then another. Deep beneath the earth, miles from an exit, his candle burned down to his fingers, and he died. Try to imagine the profound, inescapable terror, the absolute suffocating silence, the sensory deprivation so intense it causes hallucinations, knowing that with every desperate step you take in the pitch black, you are likely walking deeper into your own tomb. Philibert was never seen alive again. It wasn't until 1804, 11 years later, that quarry workers stumbled upon his skeleton in the deepest reaches of the tunnel. He was identified only by the rusted hospital keys still hanging from his belt. He was so far off the path, they didn't even try to bring him up. They buried him exactly where he fell. His tomb remains there today, a lonely warning in the dark. Philibert may have been the most famous to die, but some say he never truly left. Urban legends claim his ghost still wanders every November 3rd, desperately searching for the stairs. But the catacombs don't just hold the ghost of the 18th century. In the early 2000s, a piece of terrifying lore surfaced. A camcorder was allegedly discovered deep in a forbidden zone. The recovered tape showed a man exploring alone. Suddenly, the audio picks up the distant sound of footprints that aren't his. He panics. He runs blindly through waist-deep water, breathing raggedly, before dropping the camera in terror. The footage ends in static. Whether it was a prank, a tragic accident, or something else entirely, the man was never identified. Spend some time down there, and the silence starts to play tricks on your mind. Illegal explorers known as cataphiles, who map these forbidden zones, frequently report the same phenomena. Sudden, icy drops in temperature, the sound of disembodied voices echoing from dead-end tunnels, and the overwhelming, primal sensation of being watched by millions of unseen eyes. The Paris Catacombs are not just a tourist attraction. They are an astonishing engineering marvel born from death and chaos, where the line between the world of the living and the realm of the dead is terrifyingly thin. So if you ever find yourself walking the sunlit streets of Paris, remember what lies just beneath your feet. And if you decide to descend into the empire of the dead, stay on the path. Keep your light close, because in the hundreds of miles of pitch black nothingness that lie beyond the ropes, 6 million silent residents are waiting.
Like and subscribe.